Hello and welcome to the Buckets and Tea NBA show. I'm your host, Cathryn Naiker. Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode. Joining me today, he's a little groggy. He's a little groggy to start the day, but you know him from Sportsnet's The Raptors Show. You know him from Twitter, which I'm not calling X yet. And he has just written this very amazing book called Prehistoric. I'm showing it here for the YouTube audience. The Improbable Story of the Toronto Raptors. Give it up for Alex Wong.
Yeah, give it up. Is this where the audience claps? What's going on, Catherine?
Yeah. We add that later.
Yeah, we should have just done this at Comedy Bar. Happy 15 years old to Comedy Bar. No,
Yes.
appreciate you having me on. I believe, we did this podcast a long time ago, and then, along the way, the last couple of years, my stature started to grow in this industry, and I had to start saying no to people. But I'm here. I'm here for the civilians. So I'm here for you, for the rest of the civilians listening. Really appreciate everybody. Yeah.
Oh my God. You're so funny.
It's so funny because
Which was 2 years ago. You
yeah,
had your book launch in like a vintage clothing store,
in
which
Vintage We
was fun.
Trust. Yeah, in
Yes. And
Parkdale. Yeah.
then now you had it at like U of T in like a huge gymnasium with like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
500,
that is
500 to be
that
exact.
is
Come on, Catherine.
actual it was
Yeah.
how many?
500. Yeah.
500.
I
I
think it
said
was like
hundreds. I
I
said
think it was I
hundreds.
think it was like 430, but I've decided to round up on every number related to the book.
There you go.
So yeah, so it's
I mean,
500.
that's rounding up pretty high. I'm not gonna lie. You just made
Yeah,
up
it's like
a lot of extra
Asian
people.
boy math. Yeah, so that's what I've done.
But
Sorry, I'm bringing a lot of chaos to this. I'm gonna settle down.
no. We want the chaotic version of you
Yeah, it's the
because you're,
only
you're
version.
professional on your show,
Am I? Yeah, that's not the notes I get from my
enough. And so
bosses.
this
Oh,
show
okay.
you can let loose a bit.
Oh, okay. This is the real me, everybody.
Yeah.
This is the real me. So, yeah, I'm here. What's up? Yeah.
Um how did you find your book launch? I thought it was pretty fun. I didn't even get to say hi to you though because there was
Yeah, I was gonna
500
say,
people.
yeah, I was gonna say, unfortunately, like again, like I'm just like really popular right now. And it was super cool for people to come out, and I was really surprised because we had planned, obviously University of Toronto had helped organize this event. Super grateful for that. And we had planned for the beginning of the night for me to do a little bit of just book signing, and they had set up I guess a table there to the side of the gym. And, like, I wasn't expecting nobody to show up, but, like, I was pleasantly surprised, like, there was a lineup for, like, an hour for people to sign books, so I really appreciate anybody who's listening who was in that line for being patient. Um, and, like, I was gonna say, like, I didn't get a chance to have the food, I didn't get a chance to really hang out with anybody. Again, I'm not complaining, I understand I had a lot of stuff to do that night, but I didn't even realize you were there until the professional photos came in, and I was like, "Oh, there is Catherine in the background of one of these photos." So she did show up. So it's been like that for a lot of my friends. Like I actually don't know who showed up
I'm in the
or not.
background of one professional photo.
Sorry, I kind of buried the lead on that one.
No. I think that really sums up my career in basketball, to
No,
be
come
honest.
on. Come on. We're not doing that. Anyways, I've been going through those photos and being like, "Oh, that person was there." I'm literally that Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV thing because, like, yeah, it was a super fun night. I'm glad you were there. It was a great celebration. That's what I wanted it to be, kind of the celebration of the basketball community and really spotlight, just honestly, like all the people that was not just involved with the project, but all the people that have been super supportive of me in my career, and like that includes yourself. Like all jokes aside, calling you a civilian and all things. But no, I really do appreciate like kind of everybody, and like when you get a chance to do a project like this, I think there's the most rewarding thing is like being able to do stuff like this.
Yeah, well, that's very sweet and sentimental of you, Alex. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about the book. You start off the book, I said beautifully illustrating a parallel between the Raptors being new to Canada and yourself being new to Canada, which is true. I thought that was really cool. So tell us more about that and what that really means to you.
Yeah, I don't know if this is because I finished my book, technically finished writing it in January. So it's been like about like whatever, 10 months now. But I don't know if I intentionally meant to draw that parallel. So I
Really?
really, yeah, so I really appreciate it. 'Cause I was like, "Oh,
I was
yeah."
like, oh,
No,
this is cool.
I was like, "Catherine is right," because I start off the book talking about my personal history, how I came to Canada, immigrating here when I was 8 years old in '92 with my family from Hong Kong, and then obviously moving towards the story of how the Raptors really kinda came here in the beginning of it, so yeah, good call out. I'm gonna take credit for that. That's definitely what I intended to do, but no, to answer your question, I
I
think
mean, look, I am a
yeah.
professional screenwriter outside of all of this, so
Yeah.
maybe I was finding things, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm just straight up gonna own that, like, that I don't think I intentionally did that, but that's great. Great by me, not you. But, like, writing the intro was actually the last thing that I wrote in the book. Like I had actually struggled with it for the 2.5 years. Like I knew exactly what wanted in the middle of the book. I knew exactly, the stories that I wanted to tell, but I really struggled with like, how do I start this? Like, what is the starting point? Should I start with teasing something in the middle of the season? Maybe it's the middle of the game where they beat the Michael Jordan and the 72-10 Bulls, and then kind of pull back just to like bring the readers in right away. I was exploring a lot of these different options, and I was also struggling too a lot of times with my writing is like I don't I don't find personal writing to be a particular strength of mine. So I'm often kind of veering towards telling other people's stories. And obviously you've read the book, I think you kind of understand that in terms of just like the desire I have of like telling the stories of everyone that was involved with the team. But like ultimately I did land on wanting to kind of just tell a little bit piece of my story with the intention of just letting the reader know right away like why you should read a book written by me, and like what the Raptors obviously meant to me, where my curiosities came from. And yeah, no, I'm glad you drew that parallel because so much of this story is about this quote unquote like new Canada. John Bitove Jr., the original owner of the Raptors, termed it new Canada when he talked about the demographic he wanted to reach, and that was women, immigrants, and kids. And a lot of those people weren't being marketed to. So I think that's a theme that runs through the book when you meet different people, when you read about like how the team was formed and their intentions in the community and stuff. So yeah, I think I ended up after the 2.5 year process, whatever it was, finally sitting down writing the intro, and wanting to use that as like a starting point and use that to really kind of lay out the themes of the book.
Um, 2.5 years. That is definitely quite the process. Was a lot of that just like trying to get access to people for interviews, or what was that process like?
Yeah, I mean, yes, because I ended up talking to about 140 people for the book, and the process was actually easier than like people might think because I had a lot of relationships with people that worked with the Raptors in the first year, starting with John Bitove Jr. Some of the players as well, Tracy Murray, Damon Stoudemire had previously talked to. Now, Damon was one example of being really hard to track down because as I was working on the book, he was an assistant coach on the Celtics, so there was
Mhm.
just no time during the season. But we ended up last summer being able to do a Zoom basically every week. So I think we did a series of like 6 or 7 Zooms every week and was able to really dive into his story. And the biggest help from this book was my friend Elaine Kwan, who you might remember from the book. Like she's part of the community relations team. She actually organizes reunions with these first year Raptors, keeps in touch with everybody. So she was able to put me in touch with everybody. So I would say the interview process actually wasn't hard. I mean, it was just the time that was spent doing it, prepping for the interviews, transcribing all this stuff. Shouts to my transcription service. But like, the other hard part actually, which wasn't hard, but I found to be time consuming, but I also found to be really fun, was doing the research, like diving into the newspaper archive. And mostly I did use the Toronto Star because they gave pretty comprehensive coverage to the team back in the day. So like
Mhm.
I don't know how much time I would have spent, maybe like a month or two, over a period of a month or two at the very, very beginning, was just going through the sports section of like 1993 to like 1996, and basically like printing out every day that the Raptors played, but then also reading their off day stories, reading profiles, reading all this stuff about the Raptors. And that was kind of how I built up, how I wanted to flow the story, people I wanted to talk to, and important touch points of that first season and those first couple of years of the franchise as they were granted the expansion team in 93 and started playing 95. Kind of the most important stuff I wanted to dive into.
That's really cool. I mean, I love, like, those old archives. Also too, like, I'm old, so I have some memories of this stuff, like
Yeah.
like, I feel like because I became a fan of the Raptors, like, pre-Vince Carter, which
Yeah.
is, like, pretty wild. I mean, obviously, as a kid at the time, but I feel like, you talked about, like, marketing the Raptors to people that were being, like, underserved within the
Mhm.
overall, like, sports community. I mean, I think definitely I fit into that category, but I
Mhm.
also feel like the Raptor, like, the mascot itself was specifically designed for kids. Like, I know people made, like, a lot of, like, Barney jokes back in the day and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it was like, "No, this is being marketed to children
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah,
get
yeah.
us hooked early."
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of intention in that. Like none of that stuff was like accidental. And like I think this tidbit made it in the book, in that like originally the Raptor mascot when it was designed had like a more fierce looking
Mm,
kind of face to him. And John Bitov saw the design and actually just like carved it up, changed the smile, and was like, we need something that's more kid friendly. Cause like these were kids coming to the arena for the first time, which at the time was the Sky Dome.
yep.
And you're right, like, not a lot of kids like are like gonna pay attention to a 48-minute basketball game. Like, how do you draw them in? It has to be with these like kind of additional things that was at the game. And I think the mascot was one of the biggest things. Like the people in the game ops department told me that when they did exit surveys, as people were coming out of the arena, the mascot was like far and above the number one like attraction when they asked fans. No, when
Yes.
they asked fans like, what was your favorite part of like the game, like aside from like watching the game. So I think that's actually a great call out, like specifically with the mascot. That everything that they did was with the intention of like marketing to these people.
Yeah. I remember like our team sucked, obviously. And
Yeah.
then it would be like halftime or whatever. And then like the Raptor mascot would be like jumping and doing all these flips. And then they'd have like a little trampoline and he'd be dunking with the trampoline. And like my dad would be like, put this guy in, like put this guy in the game.
Wow, that's just
Because obviously we don't know.
that's just out here heckling.
Yeah, we don't know anything about basketball. We're like new to the sport. My dad's just like, put this guy in. Like, what are you doing? Is
Yeah.
anyway, it was so stupid but funny. It's funny how like nostalgia works with all this stuff because we have
Mhm.
these like fond memories, right? But
Mhm.
what was otherwise a challenging time for this franchise. Like I remember like this team was not good.
Mhm.
And I have this, I was trying to find it in the archives. I couldn't find it, but I have this very vivid memory of Damon Stoudemire leaving Toronto,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was, like, ecstatic. Like, he
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
wait to get out of Toronto, especially because he was going to Portland, and that's where he's from originally. But,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
I remember watching, like, CTV News in the evening, and a reporter's interviewing him at the airport. He's, like, ready to get on the plane, and he is
Yeah.
just smiling ear to
Mhm.
ear, like, he's so happy to leave, and I was like, "Damn." Like, yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
I'm a kid, and I was like, "Damn, that's cold."
Yeah, I remember that period. It's kind of funny. I mean, I had Damon talk a little bit about that in the epilogue of the book, because like going back to kind of the process when I decided to pick a time period to cover. I ultimately landed on starting kind of in 1993. This is 2 years before they actually start play. The NBA is having this like expansion franchise bidding, and these three ownership groups come in, blah blah blah. And then it's like the 2 years they get ramped up, they come up with the logo, they hire a coach, they hire Isiah as a general manager, they build out a team. And then it ultimately landed on like using the first season, that 95-96 season, as kind of like a canvas to really tell a lot of stories about the players and people within the team. Because like I felt like there was enough there to really tell the very beginning. And the period you described kind of comes right after. Like the second season, they really
Mhm.
struggle. By the third year, Isiah Thomas is out, and by then the ownership has changed. And again, I try to touch a little bit on it at the end, but it's like, and like you mentioned, Damon like really wanted out because he had a great relationship with Isiah. Didn't see the direction of the team, and he admitted in the book he was like, I was a little bit immature the way I handled it because like the airport thing you mentioned, I also remember like pulling up a lot of interviews right before the trade deadline where he was just very openly talking about like being excited to go.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, we see players today like with trade requests and stuff, but like back then it was still pretty jarring for like
Yeah.
a player to like speak so openly about that. So, yeah, the nostalgia thing is interesting because, like, one of the most interesting things that I discovered doing the book is how many of these people, amongst the players, the staff, the front office, everybody involved in that first year, they all still keep in touch. So, like,
Yeah,
even during the,
I
even,
find that
yeah,
so surprising, but in a great
yeah.
way.
Yeah, it was like it gave me this, like, emotional kinda thread to the book that I actually did not, know I was gonna have going in, and it was super cool. Like, I remember one of the first things, and I think I mentioned this in the epilogue of the book, but one of the first things that I was sent was a bunch of Zoom videos that these people did during the pandemic because they were supposed to have an in-person reunion. Obviously, those
Mm.
plans, didn't go because everything was shut down. So like they started doing Zooms together and just like reminiscing about the first season and like reminiscing about all these fun stories that they remember. And then there was one of these Zooms where it was like John Bitove, I think Isiah Thomas was there, and then the Raptor mascot shows up, and then halfway through, Samuel Jackson shows up, like on the Zoom, because like he knew Isiah, he knew John, and like obviously in the book I touch on a little bit of like Samuel as like the first celebrity fan, and it's like but then it's crazy to me, it's like the dance pack people still talk, like the game ops, the broadcast team, and like some of those guys on the broadcast team, like Leo Rounds is still part of, the Raptors coverage today, Paul Jones as
Yeah.
well, and like Doug Smith is still
Mhm.
covering the Raptors today. So it's kind of really cool. When you talk about the nostalgia, it's like a lot of these people do have really fond memories of that very, very beginning because like they had a very unique job description of like, yo, we're starting a basketball team from the ground up. It's not like you joining the Raptors like today, where there's an infrastructure now, you're 25, 30 years in. I think there's just a general excitement about being part of that very beginning. And honestly, it starts with John Bitove Jr. Like I know like standing a ownership is weird. Like I'm not sitting like I'm not sitting here being like, let's rank the 30 owners in the
Yeah, let's
NBA. But
rank all these billionaires.
yeah, but John, and listen, John comes from money, but like John was like 33 at the time, which was like
Mm.
crazy to think about when he owned the team, and he brought that youthful energy to everybody. And like it's wild to me. Like I think I asked John this at our book launch. I was like, it's crazy. Like I talked to so many people that work for you, and they all still say nice things about you. Like I don't know how many bosses I would do that to. Like, you
You
know
mean
what I
people
mean?
aren't saying nice things about you, the people who
Yeah.
work with you?
No comment. But you know what I mean though? It's like that was like kind of eye-opening to me too, because these people had no reason to say nice things about John, not at this point. Like if they had any gripes with him, they would have definitely opened up. And it wasn't just one person, two person, like two people, three people, like it was everybody. And I saw that too, like through their reunion event I had a chance to attend this summer when they had it at Real Sports. And like Tracy Murray was there, even Marcus Camby from the second year, AC Earl. Like it was super cool to see them still interact with just staff, and they were just
Mm.
like having like great a great time, just like reminiscing. So the nostalgia is like definitely there for them, and like I think I think it's cool. It's cool for them too to be able to see this book come out and people like finally learning about their story.
Yeah. No, it is really cool. You mentioned, Isiah Thomas. I wanna talk about him a bit because I remember it was, like, a really big deal for Isiah Thomas to be our first GM,
Hmm.
but what I said was that, like, when you look back at it and it's like that whole bad boy era Pistons thing never really crossed over with this Raptors team in those early days. Like, do you feel like in hiring him, like, that was sort of like their hope or intention, like, that we would have this, like, gritty attitude, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was definitely the intention. I mean, Isaiah was like just retired when he joined the team as a general manager because he has suffered basically a career-ending injury, didn't know what he was going to do next. And originally they wanted to hire Chuck Daly, who was the head coach during the Bad Boy Pistons days, and then they decided on Brendan Malone, who, like, of course, also was part of the Bad Boy Pistons, was an assistant coach. And famously, like, he's been credited with coming up with like the Jordan rules. He was like their defensive guy. So like that was definitely
Mhm.
the intention of bringing like a certain toughness there. But I think the challenge of that is like, even though they definitely had the Bad Boy Pistons as a model, like, I mean, they were just restricted, right? Like there was the expansion draft, like you're picking up leftover players from other teams or bad contracts or draft busts. So it's not like you could go out there and like really build the team that you want. And based on Isaiah leaving after like I think 2 years, like Damon leaving, like, and Brendan getting fired after the first season, I think there was a vision there, but like certainly like they just couldn't execute it because they were an expansion team.
Right. And also too, like, I feel like that Bad Boy Pistons era is just like it is its own thing. Like, I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that could ever be replicated really.
Yeah, I mean, you see the Miami Heat now try to replicate it by painting the words like hardworking on in the paint on their court and like nastiest, toughest team. It's like we used to just do that. Like
Yeah,
we didn't say it.
they also famously don't care about the regular season, so I
Oh,
don't
yeah, that's
know.
right. I believe many teams famously don't care about the regular season. I think I
Yeah,
saw a
you're
quote yesterday from like Ty Lue or somebody on the Clippers being like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're not concerned. Like we're just gonna work our way through this season." I'm like, again? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other sideshow. In the pre-Vince Carter era, so really this Damon Stoudemire era, like, who was your favorite role player to watch?
Oh yeah, it was fun to think about this question. I mean, I really like Oliver Miller. On that first year team, Tracy Murray, I was always a huge fan. I've always just been a fan of like kind of that 3-point shooting type. And then when Tracy
Mhm,
left, I remember they brought in Walt Williams. Like I was a big fan. He had those like
mhm.
knee-high socks. And then yeah, those are kind of the main ones for me. I mean, Popeye Jones was cool. And it's kind of funny thing about this because I feel like before Vince and like kind of after Damon, that little period, like we only had role players. Like
That's
there wasn't,
true.
yeah, there wasn't like a lot of star power there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
who would
yeah.
Was Kevin Willis a part of those teams?
No, see, Willis would have came. Willis
Oh,
would have
he
came
came
during like
later.
Vince. Yeah, he would have came with Vince. Like
We had
when
Doug
you,
Christie.
yeah, Doug Christie was there. Doug Christie's in the book. He gets traded to Toronto in the first season.
Yeah,
Yeah, Doug Christie was there. Like John Wallace.
right.
Like just a lot of random players at the
Yeah, we
time.
had
But
a D Brown moment.
yeah, D Brown. Yeah, but it's like that's the thing. I think it
I
goes back to
think
when
I
you.
think D
Yeah,
Brown came to square one in Mississauga,
really,
and
that's
yeah,
amazing.
and I got, like, a T-shirt signed by
Yeah,
him.
see, I wish I had those stories. Like my parents never like took me to those things. Like I regrettably like never went to the Sky Dome to watch a game. Like I wish I did.
Really?
Yeah, but like I lived uptown at the time, like in Markham, and like going downtown was just like its own thing. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you were driving downtown, like it's a whole event. Like you had to plan around it and everything. And
that's
like
true.
yeah, I think my parents
That's
being
still
like,
true,
yeah,
especially
like
when you're in the suburbs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I can't speak for that right now. But like
Oh, I'm not in
for
the suburbs anymore, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But like yeah, my parents being immigrants too, like I think it was just like this is what I think about too, is like it was difficult for them to understand even how to buy tickets. Like I know back
Yeah,
then tickets
yeah,
were available at like Shoppers Drug Mart or a ticket office, but it's like for them to even think about like, oh, how do I get tickets? Like how do I like where do I park? Like, what's this whole situation gonna look like? I think it was very intimidating.
yeah,
And that was another part of the book too, is just like the work that the Raptors did in the community very early on to just try to make basketball like accessible to like kids and like different communities
mhm.
and stuff. Which like, I really wanted to make sure I spotlighted, even though it wasn't like a huge section in the book or something like that, because I feel like that might be its own book if you're trying to make those connections. But like,
That's the next book.
yeah, no, no more books. For
No
now,
more
for now.
books?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with for now. But no more books for now. No, but yeah, just going back to your question, like there was a period where there was just like a lot of role players, and like you mentioned earlier, like the Raptors just weren't good. Like people, I think people understand it now, but it's kind of like people just didn't care about the Raptors at the time.
No.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. I mean, I got into it because again, like, the Raptor was marketed to me directly, and
Yeah.
but
I
also
love how that marketing, like, specifically worked for you. Like,
yeah, it
it
did.
really
I think it
worked.
worked for a lot of kids,
No,
though.
that's really cool. Yeah, and,
Yeah.
so many people have told me stories, like, even, like, Savannah Hamilton, at Sportsnet, like, she's told me that, like, yeah, the Raptor came to one of her, like, birthday parties because apparently
Oh,
you could, like yeah,
cool.
because you could, like, hire the Raptor back then to, like, show up and, like, hang out with the kids and stuff, and, like, so many people have told me the same stories of, like, "Oh, like, I love the Raptor growing up, had all these experiences and stuff."
Yeah, that's so wild. I mean, I remember, like, we would like, my dad used to work for Canada Post, and he would, like,
Mm,
deliver packages, like, downtown. So he
yeah,
knew, like, where to find parking. Like,
right.
he took great pride in knowing all the good parking
Mhm,
areas in
mhm.
the city that were cheap. So we never parked at the stadium, but it always meant this, like, 20-minute walk.
Oh, okay. But you did save on the parking though.
But we
Yeah,
did save on the parking, and
I love
then
that.
and then we would be, like, up in the 500s. Obviously, I don't come from money, and,
I lo
it was
I love
like,
how you said
we
obviously.
have this like, we have, like
I've seen you bid on a vintage Janet Jackson tee on eBay live. Yeah, so
and not get
and
it.
oh, that's right. I
And I
forgot
didn't
about that
get
part.
it, and then
My
I
bad,
lost
my
our
bad.
poker I lost my poker hand at the same time,
Yeah, but I
and
know
then
that
you
shirt wasn't cheap.
filmed me having a
Yeah,
breakdown.
I do still have that breakdown. I watch it once in a while. It's, no, but I know that shirt wasn't cheap, so that's all I'm saying.
No, but it was like it was like $100.
Yeah, but like you were saying, so, like, you guys would save on parking, but
We would
have to
save on
walk 20 minutes.
parking, and then, like, the tickets were, like, really cheap. I think they were, like, $5.
Yeah, imagine telling someone today, like, even though you're sitting in the 500s, that you can get into an arena for, like, $5, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, so my parents were just like, "Yeah, like, $5, I know where to park. We're
Yeah,
gonna
so
eat before, we're not eating at
it was a
the
very, like,
arena."
affordable thing. It was a very, like,
Yeah.
affordable thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, my grandmother had these, like, binoculars.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
She
I think I
brought
have this
because they were
detail. Yeah.
so high you're so far away from the court.
Yeah, I think I have this detail in the book. It's like they used to sell binoculars there as well, or you
Yeah,
could rent them. You
yeah,
could rent them for like $7 or something like that, which is kinda
yeah.
crazy, I guess, because that's more than the ticket.
That's more
Yeah,
than the ticket, and
yeah.
then or you could bring your own binoculars if
That's
you're my
amazing.
grandma, and
Yeah.
then yeah, like, you could see, like, the dance pack waiting in the wings
Oh, yeah, yeah,
before
because
they went
yeah, yeah,
onto the
yeah, yeah,
court because
'cause
there
you
was
yeah.
so much space.
Yeah, there was a space, so they would be, like, kinda, like, behind the basket, and, like, it's funny the way it was described to me. Obviously, I was never there, but, like, there was, like, a trailer where they would get changed, and it's like you can see it all because, like, the Sky Dome was kinda just an empty space with, like, a court that
Yeah,
was just, like, laid out on the ground level, so, like, it's, yeah, it's just from seeing the pictures, like, it looks crazy.
it was so brutal.
Yeah, but
Like,
it was
I
also,
like
like it's a
but
good
as a
story
kid,
to
it was
tell.
so fun. It
Oh,
was,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
exciting and new.
Yeah, you're going to an NBA game. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's all that matters. Like, it doesn't really matter where you are.
Yeah, I remember watching when we beat the Bulls. I watched that
Yeah.
live. Quite confident Jordan was just very hungover.
Yeah.
It's like when we beat the Bucks recently.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
and
like, it's
yeah,
the day after Halloween. Like
yeah,
they partied too
and
hard.
it's confirmed in the book, like, he did party the night before. Like,
There you go. Like even
I actually
harder than he
found a
normally partied, which was all the time.
yeah, like, I actually yeah, those are the fun stories. Like, I was able to track down the club promoter who, like, promoted that party. And, like, he still needs to send me the flyer to the thing, to the party. He says he still has it because they put
Oh, that's wild.
'cause they convinced Michael Jordan to, like, actually put his name on the flyer
Right.
through, Alvin Robertson because those 2 had become friends because I think they played together on, like, the '84 Team USA, Olympics team. So, like, Jordan put his name on the flyer, and then yeah, I don't wanna spoil the whole thing, but it's like he basically they play at 3 p.m. on a Sunday, and, like,
Mhm.
they were basically out until, like, 8 in the morning. But it was, like it's kind of funny because like, as I'm writing it, like, I'm like you mentioned, like, even referencing the Bucks game, it's like this happens all the time.
Mhm.
And also, like, the Bulls almost beat them that day anyways. So
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, it
"Damn."
was a close game.
Yeah, I was like, "Damn." I was like, "Damn." Like, found this great side story, but I'm like, I gotta lower the importance of this because like, it's not. how the reason why they
No,
lost.
no, no.
Yeah.
It's the true flu game. It's the real flu game.
No, that was actually one of my biggest struggles, like, after putting together that really fun story, I'm like, "Oh, this actually kinda doesn't matter because like, they used to just do that all the time." But it's a cool story anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like it's crazy that like us like Raptors sickos like hold on to something like that
Oh, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like such an insignificant regular season game that
No,
amounted
no,
to
no, no.
nothing.
See, see, see,
But
see, see.
we are like, no, no, no. This is a
I
big
gotta push
deal in
back.
our
No,
origin story.
listen, man, I gotta push back on that. I remember that Bulls team, very fondly, and like I remember them chasing that record and like them only losing
Yeah.
10 games. Like, listen, man,
And
the
we were
fact
one of
that
those 10
yeah,
games.
but listen, yeah,
You
the
know
fact
what?
that
If they
yeah,
beat us, then the
yeah,
Warriors wouldn't have beat that record.
yeah,
Years later,
exactly.
they would have tied it.
Yeah, like so we play a huge
So it
part
is
in yeah.
historically significant.
No, we play a huge part in NBA history because of that win, and it's so crazy, like, they still play that game on, like, NBA TV and stuff.
NBA TV Canada.
Oh, yeah, 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 sorry, not to confuse the, American civilians here, yeah. Sorry for people listening in Kansas, yeah.
Oh my
You will
god.
you will not be able to catch this Raptors Bulls game we're referencing, yeah. Enjoy
They
Lakers
can people in
Celtics.
Kansas can listen to this.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. I'm not sure. I don't look into the numbers.
You
Uh,
don't look into the numbers? I respect that, yeah.
I don't. No.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Other
that's sick.
people do that for me.
Oh, you
It's
have people
nice.
doing that for
Yeah,
you.
other people
Oh,
do that for me.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I don't
I
do that.
respect I respect that. Yeah.
I'm content focused.
Yeah, 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 your talent is what we say
Yeah, I'm
in
talent.
in
Thank
the
you.
biz, yeah, your
Yeah,
talent,
see?
yeah.
Not just a civilian,
Yeah, yeah, I
also
mean,
talent.
yeah, yeah, civilian/talent, yeah.
There we go.
That's
Wow.
civilian first.
That's fine. He's roasting me because he's always beating me
I'm
at
not
poker.
roasting Catherine. I respect I respect
Are you
Catherine.
playing poker still with Ennis?
I think I haven't played with him in a while because, like, I think he's been busy with his work. So, yeah, I don't
That's
know.
good.
I feel like there might be a game soon, but I definitely don't have any, like, recent, poker stories.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
shouts to Ennis Esmer, I'll watch,
Yeah.
Blind Spot or Red Oak soon, my brother. Yeah, I promise.
It was getting too intense. I told Ennis that you're all too cool for me. Like
Oh,
because I don't
the poker game was getting I thought you meant, like,
yeah,
Red
yeah,
Oak.
yeah. No, the poker
I
game
was
was
like, I
getting
haven't
is
watched Red
getting too
Oaks yet
much.
to know if it gets intense by season 3. But like, yeah, the poker,
The poker
you
was
know,
getting intense.
I mean, it's a male dominant game,
Wow.
and no,
Here it is.
I'm just
Here it
listing
is.
the demographic, and it's like, yeah, guys are just fucking. Oh, can I swear on this?
You just did.
Okay, sorry. Am I allowed though or not?
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I won't like do it on purpose all the time. But like guys are just like idiots. Like and we get like no matter what, like you could put like a just a stick and a ball and like two sticks and a ball in front of us and we'd like make a competitive game out of it. Like
That's true.
we just can't just have fun. Like no, it has to be about money and it also has to be competitive and then it has to get personal. Like this is just the escalation of guys hanging out. like everything has to be competitive. Like there's just
Yeah.
a competitive and listen, like I don't know, like maybe I don't want to genderize like competitiveness because like women are competitive too, but God, when you put guys in a room, like they will fight over anything. Like there's too much ego and like pride.
I mean,
So
for me, it was more just intense in that I'm not like an actual poker player.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
But we
was
all
just
play
going
like
for fun.
casually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then like next thing I know, the hands are like $20 each.
Yeah, yeah, they're getting a little out of hand.
And I was like, okay, I can't.
No, no, yeah. I mean, I come from a background of like I was like a degenerate gambler in my early 20s. So like
Okay, so
yeah,
you're
this is actually
experienced.
like yeah, like I feel like I'm in rehab when I go to
The one
Ennis's
night
game.
where I was doing well and I was winning, Ennis kept wanting to play more. And then he
I mean, this is the other thing. I
and
mean,
then the next thing I know, it's like 4 in the morning.
well, I didn't know
And I'm like, "Can
I
I
didn't know
take my plus $30 and go home finally? Like, this is
I didn't
madness."
I didn't know we are using this pod to litigate Ennis's poker game. Please don't listen to this,
Oh
Ennis.
my god, poor Ennis.
I'm
This is
about
the
to get
one episode Ennis listens to.
I'm about to get banned. But no, I enjoy my 9 hours, at Ennis's poker games from 8 PM to
It's
4
true,
AM.
there's no side conversations really about anything else. The
It's a
rounds
little it's
keep going.
no, it's like a little chatter, get it's a little
Only a
social.
little.
It's a little social at the start, and then
Yeah.
once someone's feelings get hurt over, the cards, then it's like, "Oh, it's kinda weird now," like, it's tense. I don't mind it though, as a fellow dude, it does get
Wow.
competitive, so I'm ready to dude it up. So,
Alright.
yeah.
I just need
Anyway.
to get more experience in a less,
No, I think
financial arena, if that makes
no,
sense, and then I can come back.
I honestly feel like poker, or, like, just gambling in general or playing cards, like, you either love it or you don't, and, like, you don't have to love it, you know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's a very casual thing for you.
It's
So,
very
like
casual for me.
yeah, it's a very casual thing. I think you look at it more as,
But
like, a
I don't think
social.
that's a reflection on women.
No, 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 and
That's just me. Yeah, yeah,
by
yeah.
no means did I say that. Let's
No,
just
no, just
clarify
let's just be
in case
clear.
this gets clipped. And I did want a WNBA team in Toronto. But,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too.
yeah, we'll see how much I can say. Um, yeah, now I lost my train of thought as I think about my full-time job. What's like this? Okay, and it's this game. Yeah, yeah, like it just yeah, no, it's not a woman thing. I think it's just for some people like playing poker and gambling is very like a social thing. So when it gets to a point where it's not a social thing and it seems like it's like a financially competitive thing, then it's like, okay, this is
Yeah,
not fun for me anymore. And I feel like that's you. Yeah.
that is me.
Yeah.
That
And I
is me.
respect that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
respect that. I
Alright,
don't
thank
agree with
you.
it, but I respect it. Yeah.
Alright, let's get back on topic here.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
I thought we were wrapping up already
we're
because
no, 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 we're
I was like,
promoting
damn.
this book
I
called
was like,
Prehistoric.
yeah, go buy so I can play poker. Yeah. It's sold out on Amazon. It's available on Indigo in stores and online right now.
Yeah, yeah, you get a free copy when you donate $30 to, Alex's GoFundMe for his gambling habits,
Yeah,
and,
just know
you
that
know
if you buy this book, I will spend whatever if I get any royalties on the back end on like real dumb shit. So like just know you're really supporting something really stupid. Like
Yeah,
don't even
he says he's
yeah.
not writing any more books, but, we'll see. We'll see how far
Yeah,
this gambling habit
oh
goes.
god. I've decided at this point in my quote unquote book tour to start the gimmick of telling people to not buy my book. So don't buy my book. Just don't do it. Like you're supporting a terrible cause. So like stop. Yeah. Stop. Don't read the book. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, speaking of which, let's go back to the book for a second.
Okay. Let's not, but let's do it. Yeah, yeah.
Let's do it
Yeah.
because, I feel like, the book obviously is the story of Toronto getting a team. It's about expansion and how tough like expansion can really be.
Mm,
And I want to know, do you think the NBA will ever expand outside of the US again? Like, will Vancouver ever get a team again? Do you think they could expand into Mexico City at some
yeah.
point in the future? Where do you think that's headed? Like,
Yeah.
obviously this is like probably distant future, but
Yeah, my short answer would be, I guess at least in the short term, like no. I just think, I think everybody kind of assumes that Seattle and Las Vegas are next to get an expansion
yes,
team in the
yeah.
NBA, and I just think for the NBA, like the risk reward is just not worth it for them to like, if you're specifically talking about Canada, especially like to kind of tap more into this market. Like we've already seen Vancouver not work out. And I think it's super cool when they do the NBA Canada games and like they have Vancouver, they go to Vancouver, they go to Montreal. Montreal always has a really good crowd.
Mhm,
They had one recently too, right? When OKC played there in the preseason. And
mhm.
sometimes I see people get excited being like, man, like if they can sell out a preseason game, there's definitely an audience here. And to me, that's like a bit naive just because like, there's been like proven track record, at least if you look at Vancouver, of like things not working out. And there's just too many markets in the US, I feel like,
Mhm.
that if the NBA did want to continue like expanding and like Adam Silver sitting in his like little Skims underwear in his office is like plotting
God.
to sorry for that imagery. Uh
I hated when that went viral. I was like, "No one wants to
yeah.
know this."
Yeah, I do. But like yeah, like if he's sitting in his office in his Skims and like thinking about like, oh, I want to expand to this, 35 teams, whatever. Like I just feel like there's going to be so many options in the US that will come before Canada. And you mentioned like kind of Mexico City. I know they've done like exhibition games there and stuff. I guess the travel is not that far, but it's like I do wonder. It's like, oh, starting a new team, an NBA team in like a brand new country like that, like just the heavy lifting of it.
Oh, it
And
would be a lot.
yeah, and it almost feels like if you're gonna do one team there, should you do like maybe three teams in Mexico or something? Or like, you
Right.
know what I mean? It's like, it seems like one team might not be the best solution either. So I guess to answer your question, like, specifically for Canada, like I'm not very optimistic that there'll ever be like a second Canadian team. And I think overall, I think they have so much more room to expand in the US for now that like I don't think they'll ever expand internationally anywhere else.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It's kind of
Uh,
sad, but yeah.
yeah, no, but it's true. Um, Speaking of which, you talked about the WNBA, we didn't get a team after all. Like you said, despite a successful preseason game and a lot of what felt like momentum, but it turns out the ownership backed out of this even before that game actually took place. Like, what do you think of that? And do you think that another ownership group could possibly bring a WNBA team here?
Yeah, I think I share the same disappointment as everybody in terms of it just seemed like the momentum was pushing towards an announcement that Toronto was going to get a WNBA team.
Mhm.
And I think when I think about WNBA, I look at it a lot differently than the NBA in terms of like, yeah, selling out a WNBA game here is a big deal because the WNBA to me, even though I know they've been here for like so many years now, like 20 plus years, right? Like I think like they're still to me, I look at them still as like a kind of early growth stage because I've seen the WNBA really explode in popularity in the last, I want to say like whatever, 4 or 5 years, right? Like there's just
Mhm.
so many more people now, especially the younger demographic, really tapping in. And I think they've done a great job of just like marketing players, marketing teams. Like I remember too, like me, like, I always say when people ask me why I don't watch more WNBA, I was like, I don't even watch the NBA, man. But like but just kidding. But like, no, like even me as like a kind of a casual this year, I was like, oh, excited to follow what the Liberty were doing based on all the signings that they had made. And excited to see what the Aces were doing and like just learning about different players on like different teams. So like, to your question, it's like I think this was the best shot in terms of like partnering up obviously with an ownership group that already has an infrastructure with an NBA team, got the arena, got a G League team, all this stuff, got the staff in place that they could probably like obviously would hire more people, but it's like they know exactly how to like run a team. In terms of a potential other ownership group, I think you just get into a lot of other questions, right? It's like where are you going to play? Is there gonna be
Yeah.
enough kind of money to support the team? So, yeah, I think it's disappointing. I mean, I'm not like a whatever business reporter or whatever, but it's like thinking about some of the numbers that was tossed out in terms of how much it would have cost to get an expansion team. It just seemed like such a like forget about like supporting women's sports and all of that stuff. Like yes, I think that stuff should go without saying, but just as a business investment, it just seemed like a smart investment for an ownership group to tap into because the potential of like bringing in such a new audience and a different audience and just satisfying the demand that's here for women's basketball. Like it was all there. So it's like now I worry. It's like, oh, next time when expansion comes around in the WNBA, like does the league even come back around to Toronto? Like it feels like they gave them a chance here, and they didn't take it. So like, was that kind of the only opportunity?
Yeah, well, I mean, even if it isn't the only opportunity, because the league is finally, like, growing, like you
Mhm.
said, like, in the last 4 or 5 years, the price tag will only be higher,
Yeah, I mean that's the other
right?
thing
Like,
too,
it's
right?
like,
Yeah.
like, the number $50 million was being tossed around as,
Hmm.
like, the going rate for a
Yeah.
franchise. It's
And
like,
like I said, that's like two Otto Porter Juniors.
there you go,
Like
and then
yeah,
it's like in 10 years from now, that number could double.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
who
So like
knows?
again, like obviously we weren't in those rooms to know like what those discussions were, but it's just like from the outside looking in, especially as like basketball fans, I'm sure some of these business people will make a case to us being like, oh, this is why it doesn't make sense. But it's like just from everything that we know, like it just seemed like a no brainer. And I think Yeah, I think it is really disappointing because it's like Toronto had a chance to get in on the WNBA at its like very peak right now as it's
Mhm.
continuing to grow. And I think it would have been so amazing, even from like a media standpoint, because I know we all care about the media so much. Is that like it would have created a lot more job opportunities for people to kind of tell stories here. It would have just created more jobs, like just because, like, obviously there's a league and a team running in the summer, and it would have flowed perfectly from like the Raptors getting bounced to the playing game, right to the
Yep.
Toronto WNBA team, and it's like, it would have just been cool to know that there's like a year-round like pro basketball basically happening in the city.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and also, like, I just felt like a lot of the reasons that were released publicly just didn't really make sense to me, like, oh, like, Scotiabank Arena availability. Like, I went to the Scotiabank Arena website, looked at their calendar, and it's, like, empty
I know.
all
Will
summer.
yeah, Will did that exercise when that report came out, and it was like they would have had to lose like 7 concerts or something.
Yeah, or not
But
even.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
like, you do, like, like, the Lakers famously do a Grammys road trip
Yeah, yeah,
every
you
year
you
where
you
they
could
leave
have
their
worked your
arena.
way you could have worked your way around it, and the arena
Yeah.
would have still gotten the concert revenue
Yeah,
that they
like that.
wanted, or just do monster trucks in Hamilton or something, you know what I'm saying? You could always move, shouts to my monster truckers, but, like, I'm sure we could find a new venue to destroy some trucks, yeah,
Yeah,
so
like, the whole thing just didn't make any sense, so anyways, yeah, disappointing, but, the book's about expansion, and that was, like, an expansion, opportunity lost here, at least
yeah,
for now, at least for now. Okay, I have a couple more things I wanna ask you still.
yeah, I'm
Um
chilling until my lunch appointment at noon, yeah.
Wow, okay, there we go. Okay, I wrote, like, this is a basic question, and maybe you get asked this all the time, or maybe you don't, but, why do you love the Raptors?
Yeah, I laughed when, because Catherine did send me these questions before as a pro.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like I thought about the question and it's like I do love the Raptors, but I feel like I love basketball more than like as a whole, more than I love
Mm,
the Raptors. And it's like for me, like I still remember making my like grade 7, grade 8 basketball team and then playing in high school as well. In like grade 9 and grade 10. And like those are some of my most fond memories of just going to gyms, like traveling to tournaments, like hopping on a team bus, like after school, and like even trekking in the snow with like my teammates, like after like practice at school to like go to a friend's house to hang out and play video games and stuff. And I remember like being outside, like on my driveway when my dad bought us like a rim and like shooting threes and like pretending to dunk like Shaq and all this stuff, or like just going to the playground to play. And then obviously watching basketball, like growing up and like looking up to guys like Shaq and Penny and like MJ and all these guys, and then Damon Stoudemire when he came here. It's like I think basketball is just such a like formative part of my life growing up, and it was a great way for me to just like make friends. Like it was just like
mm,
if somebody else liked basketball, like we'd be able to chat. And it's like it's kind of crazy, but it's the exact same now. It's like I'm chatting with you because I'm a world famous author, but it's also like I'm chatting with you because like we have a shared interest in basketball. And like if I ran into you like somewhere, like we talk about basketball, you know what I mean?
mhm,
And it's like, sometimes it is kind of like I know it's cheesy, like, people being like, oh yeah, like, basketball, like, it's changed my life and stuff. Like I wouldn't go that far. But it's like basketball has just been such a huge part of my life. And I think both from a personal standpoint and now being able to think about it, like publishing books about it, covering the team. It's kind of incredible. It's kind of incredible. It's like this love and passion for basketball, which is slowly withering away year by year as I get older. But this passion and love for basketball has like opened up so many doors for me, and like allowed me to like meet so many people. So like when I thought of your question, I really thought of it in that context, and I think career and stuff, and seeing that payoff is like great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very well said, and I agree. I think when you have such fandom for
Hmm.
something like this, it becomes more than the fandom itself, and you get a sense of community, friendships, and things like that. So I think that is in a lot of reasons why, people stick around even
Yeah.
beyond just the wins and losses and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't judge people who don't like sports, but I guess I do often judge is my conclusion. But it's like I often when no, because often when friends be like, oh yeah, like my I hung out with my uncle, but he doesn't watch sports at all, and I'm like, damn, like I think I just wish they would realize what they're missing out on is all I'm saying. And like I'm
Mhm.
sure there's other things that obviously satisfy and fulfill their life. But I just feel like sports is just such a like I don't know because I don't know any other way. Like I've just always grown up like
I'm
loving
surprised you
sports.
know people who don't watch sports.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Or like even in high school, I remember like high school, university. I remember used to like meet people who were just like, "Oh yeah, I don't have a TV, like so I don't watch any sports or like anything." But like I guess that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah.
like just nomads. it's just like because I don't know any other way. Like I would just always love sports, right? Like I grew up reading like Sports Illustrated. I would buy all these basketball almanacs and like study them, like all this stuff, and it's like yeah, I just sometimes wish people would understand it's like the joy, but I think for you too, like probably you in like the comedy space,
Mhm.
the acting space, like you probably obviously there are people there that cross over and love sports, but then there's probably people who are like, yo, why the fuck are you like so fucking strung out or stressed out about this like basketball game, you know what I mean? It's like people don't no but people
Yeah.
don't get it if they've never experienced it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a lot of people reach out to me when, Nick Nurse was fired. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
reached out. I was like, "Yo, he didn't die." Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a symbolic death for you, so,
yeah, only symbolically, It
yeah,
was
yeah,
fine,
yeah.
it's
He's
fine.
still he's still a hottie too, or what, man?
No, I moved on, I moved
You've moved
on.
on? Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
yeah. Speaking
Okay.
of which, it is now the Raptors Hottie Highlight of the
Yeah,
week.
I teed you up for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Well done. Which it has been since mid last season. I was out on Nick Nurse
Mm.
like everyone
Okay.
else. But this week's hottie highlight of the week goes to Scottie Barnes dancing to the Succession theme song in San Antonio. Absolutely love that they would pick that for the away team. Feels like that's a fun choice, but also embracing it and dancing to it. I'm also a huge Succession fan. So I personally had great joy from watching that. I believe you're a Succession fan too, no?
Yeah, I'm a big Succession guy, and like everybody subscribe to the Raptor show at Sportsnet because we actually took that bit and did a whole segment yesterday of Raptors as Succession characters.
Ooh.
Yeah, things kind of fell off the rails though, because there was a lot of comps I couldn't say on air. So I just halfway through the segment, I was just like, "Yeah, guys, I'm not doing this anymore," because I don't get to, because I can't express my true opinions on here. Like I cannot go on pretending Roman is like OG or something. I'm like, guys, these are not good. So, anyways, yeah,
Roman would
no,
not be OG. I mean, also too, it's like you have to go 2 hours now.
yeah, yeah, we do have to go 2 hours
So
as
it's
I
like
always.
that's a lot of content to fill.
Well, 2 hours and like as we're recording this week, the Raptors play once this week, Monday to Friday. Like they
Yeah, that's
played
right.
yesterday. So it's like when the Raptors actually play, like the show kind of just runs itself because like we have
Right.
so much to talk about. But when the Raptors don't play, it's like, oh, sometimes we're like scrambling. And obviously like having guests really helps and all that stuff. But yeah, I joke in the summer, my bosses came to me. They're like, "Yo, we have great news." They're like, "We're moving you to you're getting 2 hours now." And I was like, "What's the great news?" Yeah. Anyways,
It didn't come with a pay increase?
anyways, I'm not here to talk about my employment, okay, Catherine. Let's stay focused here. Yeah.
Double the work, same amount of money.
No, I didn't say that either.
That's the
Okay,
no, 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 but that's just how
no comment.
corporations do people
Okay, okay,
sometimes.
no comment. Yeah, my agent cannot be reached at this time. So yeah, no, but yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. I think it goes back again to just talking about like what basketball means, right? Like you doing this, like us doing the show and all this stuff. Like I think it's cool. There's so much space for this now. Like there's so much space for this, and I think it's super cool to like hear different people, the way they think, the way they talk about basketball.
It's true. Alex, thank you so much for joining me this week. Really appreciate it. The Raptor Show, weekdays on Sportsnet, Prehistoric.
Yeah,
Pick it up.
don't just leave it. Leave it on the shelves at Indigo. Yeah, just take a photo with it. Don't
Or
buy it.
like pick it up and then move it in front of another book.
Yeah, make it Heather's pick. Yeah, put a
Yeah,
Heather's
to put a
pick.
Heather's pick sticker on
Yeah,
it.
slap a Heather's like, "Heather, man, read this book, man. Come on, Heather. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? Like, who is Heather, by the way? Like, I've
I
never
believe
actually.
she's the CEO.
I gotta beg an exec to read my book.
There you go.
You're
I'm sure
telling me
they'd host you. You should do an
you're
event at Indigo. I'm
you're
sure they'd host you.
you're telling me Heather is an exec. I thought she was just like an avid reader. I
Just
mean, I
some girl who reads a
no,
lot.
no, no. I knew Heather had some affiliation to like Indigo, but I didn't know she was CEO.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Now
sure
I
she's
kind
the
of don't respect
CEO.
that. I mean, not to burn any relationships at Indigo, but it's like this is kind of like when Obama puts out his like playlist. I'm like, I don't really know if I respect that because it feels like you had like 12 people put that together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure he has people that help him put that
Yeah. So
playlist together.
do we think Heather actually reads her picks?
I don't
Or
know.
or do you think she gets kinda bought off? You know, it's kinda like, "Yo."
Usually CEOs are pretty busy. I don't know how many books she has time to
Yeah,
read.
it's like, "Yo, Will Smith biography, Imma slap a Heather's pick on that,"
They
but
have like a crappier sticker with a Sharpie that says staff picks.
oh, yeah, so I've made
So
staff picks
maybe
before.
that's like, see,
I
there
I've
you go. So
I've
maybe that's
made
like the way to
yeah,
go because they've
yeah.
actually read those
I
books.
know you're trying to wrap up, but I do have some Indigo stories here. But it's like,
Please.
no, it's like, yeah. So I have made staff picks because, like, oh, like listeners of the show or people who've read my book, like, some of them actually work at Indigo, so they'll like sometimes slap the staff picks, which is cool. And then on the day of the release, I actually, I guess this is a ritual I do for 2 books now. So I've done this ritual twice. Like I just go into, I guess, like Eaton Center because it's like closest to my work and stuff, and I just offer to like autograph all the books and like leave a little personal like message in there. And then I asked the dude for a pen, and then I think there was like 15 to 20 books there, and like I had just come from like a breakfast television thing in the morning, and like I don't do mornings. I was like fucking tired, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sign 8 of these. Like the rest of the people that want to
Wait,
sign book, yeah.
why would you show up without a pen?
No, no, no. I mean, I assume a
It was
civilian there.
spontaneous?
Yeah, yeah, it was spontaneous, and I assume like, because the thing is, I also don't when I do this, I don't want to just start grabbing my book off the shelf. Like I have to tell someone. 'Cause, like, then they'll think I could be some crazy person who's just, like, scribbling in books. So I had to find someone, on the staff and be like, "Hey, I'm the author. I just want to sign some books and leave it here for people." But they didn't really check. They were like, "Yeah, cool, man." Like, so, like, I guess I could have been anybody. So if you wanna go in and scribble on some prehistoric books, this is how you do it. So then
Wow.
they give me a pen, there's, like, 20 books in there, but I'm like, "Damn, I'm only gonna sign 8." Because like, I was just tired. But I wanted to motivate people to, like, maybe come to a book event, stuff like that, but, like and then he got, like, kinda mad at me. He's like,
Why did
"Why
he get
won't you"
mad at
he's like,
you?
"Why won't you sign the rest?" He's like, "Why would you si" I'm like and then, like, I guess my explanation was kinda corny. I was like, "I don't know, I'm tired, man." So then I guess I have a little falling out with the Indigo Eden Center as well. They didn't seem very impressed by me. They're like, "Give us the pen back." So catch me not at Indigo
He's like,
Eden
"I have
Center
more
Store.
important things to do with this pen than
Yeah,
you."
he's like, "Yeah, I'll slap the," because they also have another sticker, which is like signed by the author sticker.
Right.
Yeah, so he's like, "Yeah, I'll slap those on later." So I don't know if he actually slapped those on, but actually someone told me they're sold out of books at Eden Center right now. So
Really?
yeah, so appreciate it. Yeah, so appreciate it. Yeah,
Congratulations.
so don't stop buying this book. Like it's fine. Yeah, don't buy
No,
it.
don't stop buying the book. Keep buying the
Yeah.
book. Or, give it as a gift, right?
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
sure
great
that's
Christmas. It's a great Christmas gift. It's a great Hanukkah gift. It's a great Easter gift. It's a great Thanksgiving gift. Yeah. I'm waiting for you to disagree
And no
with
other
me.
no other holidays.
Yeah, I can't think of it's a great family day gift too as well. Like if you're just taking family day off, like,
Wow.
buy one for
Well,
the family. Yeah. All right, I'm done. Sorry for
Prehistoric,
yeah.
available now. It's a great book. Alex, thank you so much. Appreciate
Th-
it.
Thank you, Catherine. Talk soon. Talk to you in 5 years.
Talk to you in 5 years. Okay, bye.